ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here now the four sages, the four Kumaras, they have started speaking. So they are saying, Munaya Uchuhu, the four great sages, they said, Kovam, who are you? Vam means you. So who are these two doorkeepers, these these two doorkeepers? Iha itaya bhagavat paricharyaya. Who are these two doorkeepers who are present in Vaikunta? Iha means, because in the material world when we say Iha, it is in this material world. Now they are in Vaikunta, they are talking in Vaikunta. So Iha there means in Vaikunta Loka. Iha itaya means they have attained. So what have these two people attained? Bhagavat paricharyaya. They have attained service of the Supreme Lord. They are doing the service, they are two doorkeepers of the Lord. So they have attained service of the Lord. And what kind of service? Not ordinary service. This service is attained after many pious activities. Prabhupada translates Uchchaihi, having been developed by past pious action. Then they have attained this high status of service to the Lord. Okay. So, Kovam, who are these two personalities? Iha, in this Vaikuntha world, Etaya Bhagavat Paricharyaya, they have attained the devotional service of the Lord. Uchchaihi, which is attained after many pious activities. Tadharminam Nivasatam. And if they are Nivasatam, if they are the residents of Vaikuntha, then Tadharminam, actually they should have developed the same qualities as the Supreme Lord. Dharma means characteristic. Correct? We all know. Dharma means, just like we say, the dharma of sugar is sweetness, the dharma of water is liquidity. So they should have developed the same dharma, the same characteristic as the Supreme Lord. Tad dharminam. But it doesn't look like that they are having the same qualities as the Supreme Lord. Rather, Vishama Swabhavaha. They have developed opposite qualities to the Supreme Lord, not matching to the Supreme Lord. Vishama means discordant, not non-congruous, not matching. It is not befitting a person staying in Vaikuntha world. Vishama, opposite completely. Swabhavaha, they have developed discordant mentality in the spiritual world. And then they are saying, actually in the spiritual world, Tasmin, in the spiritual world or in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Prashanta Purushe, the Supreme Lord, or in the Vaikuntha world, it is Prashanta. It is without any disturbance. There is no disturbing element in the spiritual world. Prashanta Purushe, Gata Vigrahe. Why? Because the spiritual world is free from any enemy. Gata Vigrahe means there is no question of enemy in the spiritual world. Why these people are thinking that some enemy has entered here and then they have stopped? Are we some enemies of the Lord? They are thinking like this. Because imagine, let us say for example, when on Sundays we have coupon system here, for people who want to take prasadam. So in the beginning, there is already a security check. Somebody is already checking whether coupons are there. Only when coupons are there, they are allowed inside. Once again, they should not be checked. It becomes inconvenience for the people like that, because already somebody has already checked. So they are saying Vaikuntha means enemy cannot enter. When enemy cannot enter, why they should interfere? They should know enemy cannot enter Vaikuntha Loka. Vaikuntha Loka means prashanta, without disturbance. Gatha vigrahe. Enemies cannot enter into the spiritual world. So they should not have stopped thinking us to be some kind of enemy or something. Isn't it? So, spiritual world means prashanta purushe. There is no disturbance whatsoever. Why? Because Gata Vigrahe, there is no enemy in the spiritual world. So, Kovam Atmavat Kuhakayoho. So, these people, they are thinking, anybody they see, they are thinking they are like Atmavat. You see? Just like, why are they suspecting, why are they thinking us to be enemy? Because looks like they themselves are imposters. Parishankaniyaha. Therefore, they are thinking everybody to be untrustworthy. Because they themselves are imposters. Kuhakayo means maintaining duplicity. They are actually maintaining duplicity. Duality is there in their mind. That is why, because they are themselves not qualified, they are thinking others are also not qualified. So actually they are not qualified. So they should not belong to the spiritual world. They are supposed to go down to the material world. They don't belong to this material, to the spiritual world. So this is what the sages are saying. So there are some very interesting things. Let us try to discover. I wanted all of you to discover some interesting qualities which Prabhupada is mentioning in this purport as well as in the translation. Prabhupada is describing two important attributes of residents of Vaikuntha. Two very important attributes which qualifies them to be the resident. Otherwise, they cannot be resident. Just like, say for example, if you want to be a resident of this society, then certain rules you have to match. Otherwise, you will not be called a citizen. You will be called criminal or unwanted, right? Likewise, there are two very important characteristics mentioned by these great sages, which makes a person a resident of Vaikuntha. Then one quality they are saying, which makes them not a resident of Vaikuntha, but resident of material world. If someone develops that in the spiritual world, immediately he should be transported, and that is what finally they did. That you are not having that quality of spiritual world, you have a quality of material world, better you should go down to material world. So one quality which does not qualify us to be a resident of spiritual world, and immediately we become transported to the material world, that quality is also mentioned. That is prominent quality of material world. That is mentioned. And then three attributes of spiritual world. Three attributes of spiritual world which it is free of. That means material world is not free of those things. Spiritual world has certain attributes which it is free of. So let us first try to discover two important attributes of residents of Vaikuntha from the shloka. First you should tell Sanskrit and then the translation. Vyas Maharishi, you are very keenly observing. Poonam Chand, try karo. Ram Gopal, anyone? Prashanta Purushe, that comes later on. In the very beginning it comes. Bhagavat Paricharya, yeah, very good. That is one. What does it mean? They're all engaged in the service of the Lord. Everyone is engaged in the service of the Lord. Another is Tat Dharminam. They've all got the same qualities as the Supreme Lord. If you have not developed the same qualities as the Supreme Lord, you cannot be a resident of Vaikuntha. And if you are not engaged in the service of the Lord in Vaikuntha, you cannot be a resident of Vaikuntha. Everyone is engaged in the service of the Lord. So these are the two important attributes of residents of Vaikuntha. What is the one quality which disqualifies you to be a resident of Vaikuntha and immediately transfers you to material world or material consciousness? Vishma Swabhava, discordant mentality, opposite mentality to the Supreme Lord, mentality which is not incongruous with the laws given by the Lord, disobedient. You see, that kind of mentality immediately turns the living entity into this material consciousness. Vishma Swabhavaha. What are the three things the spiritual world is free of? Prashanta Purushe, that is, there is no disturbing element, there is no disturbance, no anxiety in the spiritual world. It is free of any kind of disturbing elements. Disturbing elements cannot be there. Disturbing elements have to be in the material world, not in the spiritual world. That is why when the Lord wanted to fight also, He had to come down to the material world, because He cannot fight in spiritual world. He does not fight. There is no disturbing element there to fight. So the Lord also has quality of fighting. He also wants to show His valor, isn't it? So that is possible only in the material world. So there is no disturbing element. And that's why He created disturbing element in the material world in the form of Hiranyaksha and his brother, isn't it? Then, second thing the spiritual world is free from, Gatha Vigrahe, without any enemy. Spiritual world is free from any enemy. No enemy can enter in the spiritual world. No disturbing element, no enemy. Third, Kuhu Kahyoho, free from duplicity. It's a characteristic of the material world to be duplicitous, something inside, something outside. But spiritual world, you cannot be something outside, pretending to be devotee. You cannot be in the spiritual world. There is no possibility. Here you can reside in the material world. Spiritual world you cannot reside. So that's why the two doormen, they are saying that they are pretending to be Vaikuntha Vasis, but actually they don't belong to this. They are having duplicity. So this is what they are saying. Prabhupada in the purport points out some very important thing which is very essential for all of us devotees. See, for everything there is a particular characteristic by which one can understand. If we are saying, I am a very rich man, and then we see that you have no money in your bank, you have no money in your house, you are wearing torn cloths, you are associating with slum, then these are not characteristic of a rich man. Somebody is a poor man, he has his characteristic. Somebody is sick, he has his characteristic. Somebody is lazy, he has his characteristic. Somebody is very active, he has his characteristic. Similarly, if someone is an advanced devotee of the Lord, he also has his characteristic. So Prabhupada is saying, when somebody becomes a devotee of the Lord, he should develop 79% qualities of the Lord. 79, living entity in perfection can develop up to 79% qualities of the Lord. That is Vedic literature say. So, only then we can be called advanced, we can try to become the residents of Vaikuntha. So Prabhupada is saying, the difference between the inhabitants of a Vaikuntha planet and those of a material planet is that in Vaikuntha, all residents engage in the service of the Lord. What is that? Bhagavat Paricharyaya. Everyone engages in the service of the Lord. Material world is not like that. Some try to engage. Very few, hardly very few, rarely. Spiritual world, everyone is engaged. All residents are engaged in the service of the Lord. Then, and are equipped with all his good qualities. Tat dharminam. They're all having all good qualities like the Supreme Lord. And then Prabhupada is saying, it has been analyzed by great personalities. When a conditioned soul is liberated and becomes a devotee, about 79% of all good qualities of the Lord develops in that person. You see? So we will try to see some of the very interesting qualities sometimes Prabhupada talked about, which we should see whether we are actually developing those qualities. This is a test for the devotees. We are all saying we are devotees, right? So we should see whether we are advancing in devotional service means simultaneously we should be developing these qualities. So one of the very important qualities Prabhupada talks about is tolerance, Shama. We should be eagerly seeing whether we are developing tolerance. In the society of devotees, Prabhupada gave a very wonderful example of tolerance. With outsider it is different. With outsiders people may criticize, right? So Prabhupada said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this formula, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna. We should be tolerant like the tree. Prabhupada gave the example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why is he giving the example of a tree? The tree, all benefits are taken away from the tree. Somebody snatches its fruit, somebody takes out its trunk, somebody takes out its leaves, utilizes for everything, and the tree is not protesting. Right? So similarly, a devotee may be hampered, given all kind of troubles by non-devotees. Devotees should be very tolerant. How to practice tolerance within the devotee community? That is also very essential. So Prabhupada gave one very wonderful example of how to practice tolerance even within the community of devotees. Now, you are in this Krishna conscious society. It's very interesting, very important. You cannot expect all the members of the society will be first class men. Why? Because, see, Prabhupada always said, this is like a hospital. This Krishna consciousness is like a hospital. To different degrees people are having. We cannot say, you are having too much of suffering, you cannot be admitted. You will also be admitted, but you require to take more precautions. You require to be in ICU. Isn't it? You have to perform more tivra bhakti. But everyone can be admitted. But we should know the reality that to different degrees, different people are contaminated. Don't expect Vaikuntha in society. That is possible only in Vaikuntha Loka. Otherwise, Prabhupada is saying, to different degrees, people will have different contaminations. So don't expect, Prabhupada is saying, you cannot expect all members of society will be first class. How can you expect? We are collecting members from all classes of men. So there may be men in goodness, man in passion, man in ignorance. But if you think, oh, this man is not good, that man is not good, no, you should be tolerant. See, this is called tolerance. In the society, how you have to be tolerant? Not that you are thinking you are first class, somebody is third class, somebody is fourth class. No, we have to be tolerant. We have to understand the reality. And then Prabhupada is giving a very wonderful example. Just like, suppose you are on a ship. You do not find all men of your liking. Arey Baba, you should understand, you are in a ship. What is your goal? Your goal is to cross over this ocean. So everybody in the ship may not be of your liking. You cannot say, he is not of my liking, I will jump off the ship. अरे भाई, so much difficulty, इतनी मुश्किल से शिप में जगह मिली है, वो इम्पोर्टेंट है. ये मेरी लाइकिंग का नहीं है, ये मेरी लाइकिंग का नहीं है, इसको धक्का दे देता हूं, नहीं तो मैं कूद जाता हूं. Isn't it? So Prabhupada is saying, no, that is not the process. There may be, suppose you are in a ship, you do not find all the men of your liking. There may be different kinds of men. But what is that you have to do? You have to cross the ocean. Just sit tight on the ship, take advantage of the opportunity. That is your business. That is called Shama. Excuse and tolerate. So this is a very wonderful example. How we have to develop these qualities. Not that I don't like this devotee, I don't want to be here, or I want to go outside. Devotees are not good. Isn't it? So that is not the idea. Then Prabhupada is saying, suppose somebody has offended you, excuse him. That is another kind of penance. Sometimes whole life we don't excuse. Then Prabhupada is saying, that is another penance. Take that as a penance. Lord Chaitanya has taught us, Trinadapi Sunichena. And then Prabhupada is saying, at least for outsiders, we have to give all honors. And why we have to give all honors? For yourself you don't expect. He is criticizing, you don't expect. But for others you give all honor. Prabhupada is saying, even for outsider you give all honors. Why? So that he will not disturb you. Prabhupada is saying that. But if another foolish creature disturbs you, you should give him all honor. He is identified with the body, give him all honor. Oh sir, you are very beautiful, you are very learned. So that he may not disturb you, give him all honor. In this way you can go on chanting. So he will not come and disturb you anymore. Nobody will disturb you. As soon as you take to spiritual life, there will be so many disturbances. Why? It's a declaration of war. So as soon as you become Krishna conscious, illusory energy will see, oh, this man, he's getting out of my control. Let him give all kind of impediment. Therefore, you have to learn this tolerance. So this tolerance we have to learn. So this is one quality. Another example Prabhupada gives about how a devotee develops all good qualities once he takes to Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada gave the example of Mrigari, who was a very horrible personality, very cruel personality in his earlier life. The moment he took to Krishna consciousness, there was a change in his behavior, change in his qualities. Prabhupada says, this is the example. Not that you are the same person. There is no change at all and you are thinking, I am devotee. Earlier also same, now also same, and no change. And we are thinking, I am still devotee. So Prabhupada is giving the example. Our personality should undergo change. Just like the example of Mrigari. He underwent so much change. He was so cruel. He would half kill and take pleasure. Later on, he is not ready to kill even one ant. This is a change. Then Prabhupada is giving the example of Arjuna. Are we having that compassion like Arjuna? Even materially. He was compassionate even though Krishna chastises him that this is not a real compassion, but Prabhupada glorifies. Prabhupada says these are qualities of a devotee. Duryodhana did not show this compassion, even for his own friend, that my so many friends will be killed. He did not have any compassion. He did not have any feeling. So many people are going to be killed in this war. Arjuna is showing compassion. He is showing compassion even for enemies. He knew, in this war, Krishna is with me, all these people will be finished. But he is showing compassion even for them. So Prabhupada is saying, this is a quality of a devotee. Isn't it? Then we are seeing the example, Prabhupada gives the example of Prahlad. Such a wonderful qualities. One of the wonderful qualities is, even in the most turbulent circumstances, he never forgot God. Most turbulent circumstances, completely dependent on the Lord. Isn't it? And then, when the time came when somebody was giving him so much problem, trying to get him out of service of the Lord, trying so that he can forget God, rather he should think me as God. Biggest enemy, his own father. When the time came, he is asking for benefit for his father. Prabhupada is saying, this is devotee. This is devotee. The person who whole life gave him trouble, to him, for him he is asking benefit. My dear Lord, if you really want to give me something, okay, give me, let this, my father, who had become your enemy, let him be liberated. Then Nrsimhadev is saying that is not to be asked. By your becoming devotee, your 14 generations are already liberated. This is the good quality of a devotee. The Lord appreciates so much that he says, okay, you have developed, does not matter. Anybody who is related with you, they will also become liberated. This is the glories of a devotee. These are the glories of developing these qualities. So, these are the qualities which Prabhupada is talking about, which is required to be developed, to be transferred to the spiritual world. And this is what they did not find. The four Kumaras did not find them in these two doorkeepers who are having discordant mentality, opposite mentality to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they thought him that they do not befit the spiritual world. They are impostors, duplicitous. Better they should go to the material world. So we'll discuss more in other classes. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.